Hi, welcome. So, we're going to be having Laura, the matchmaker, join us from Miami in the US. So, we're going to talk a little bit about love. So, what is the wildest ride or things that you've done for love? So, we want to hear everything about it. So, she's going to be joining us now. Hi, everyone. Welcome. There we go. So, I'm just having her jump in now. If you have any questions, put it in. Love you to get involved in this chat. So she should be joining right now. There we go. Hi, how are you?
Hey, good. How's it going?
Good. Thank you for joining me
Of
today.
course. No
Yeah, so
worries.
we're really,
Early there for you,
we're really,
right?
oh, thank you. I'm there for you as well. And I've just
Oh,
seen
no, I
you're
said it's
pregnant.
early there for you, right? Early in the
Oh,
morning?
yeah, like
I was like,
7
what?
a.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for you,
Hmm.
it's like 5. So you're off,
Yeah.
off tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today, I'd love to chat it. I'd love to, share with what you do here in Sydney, Australia to Australia. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your journey about being a professional matchmaker, dating expert to begin with.
Yeah. It was always something I wanted to do, and I just feel like I didn't have the courage for so long. I just feel like I don't know. It's definitely one of those industries that's like it's very niche. It's very curated. It's not something that a lot of people do. But in my late 20s, I was like, I'm doing this. I really want to do this. This is what I'm passionate about. I have a psychology background. I really want to help people, and just I'm so fascinated with how people connect and just the human connection. And I really believe we need human connection and we need more uh, partnerships in the world. And I just think there's like a societal breakdown right now with the dating apps and everything. And people are just, there's a breakdown of definitely the family unit in marriage. And I just wanted to like make a difference.
Yeah, I love that. And it's, it's like dating is so much different from when it was like over a decade ago. And I feel like, what I really loved and why I wanted you to come on today is just I love that you're just really kind of like says it as it is because it is hard out there dating. So I always
Yeah.
share like your videos around to all my like friends and I'm
Oh,
like,
thank you.
like for me, especially like, like dating in my 30s, like, I was married and then obviously I was divorced and it is hard. Like when I met my ex, like, there wasn't dating apps. I just organically met him and then like going out now, it's like, wow.
Yeah, no,
Where do you
it's
start?
very
Mhm.
hard. As a woman in your 30s, it's really hard to date. I've been there too. And yeah, it's a grind for sure. It's a grind.
Yeah, so like I definitely know like for me like there was a big difference. Like I lived in the US for a bit and then to Australia. Australia is a totally different ball game. Like I feel like the guys here aren't as direct. So it's just, in Australia it's kind of like, it's definitely a little bit more challenging. But what do
Yes,
you
this is
think?
what I've heard about Australia. So let me know if
Yeah.
this is true, because I don't know. Like it could just be complete stereotypes, but this is what I've heard. So I've heard
Yeah.
the men are really cheap. They split the bill. They're not chivalrous, and they don't ask you on real dates. Is this true?
It's kind of true. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it's totally different. So that's why I like, me and my girlfriends, we love watching your videos because yeah, I seen the one that you did with your husband, and he was like, "Don't split the bill, take on the first date." Yeah, you're totally
that is
yeah.
crazy.
Mm.
Oh my God, I don't know how I would deal with that. Yeah, I heard like Australian guys just like are so like casual and like, ugh, yeah.
But yeah, not all of them, but yeah,
Yes.
it's definitely I think it's really good to chatting about what you're saying and get the message out here. So any Australian guys listening up, or somebody
Well,
put staying in
it's
Miami.
like that in Canada too, though. Like I feel like Canada and Australia are kind of similar, and I'm from Canada, so Canada is more like that as well. And it's like there's really not much you can do when it's like ingrained in the culture and it's like societally so in there. Like it's very hard to find that like rare guy that just wants to be a gentleman when it's like become so normal to be like we're equal, right? We're splitting like every bill, right? Like I feel like it's just tough.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice like when you do go on a date, like and being able to like, okay, they've got you, and then then like next day you're able to kind of like work it out and see with a partnership. But yeah, it's nice to
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice to. So what do you think, like during your time as like a matchmaker, is like some of the wildest things you've seen people do for love?
I mean, I don't really think I've seen anyone do anything like that. Wow, these are all normal things to
Mm,
me. Like my clients will travel anywhere for a match. They're obviously very serious about it. Usually that's like within the US, but I have had clients be like, if you find my soulmate, I will fly to her anywhere after like a video chat or whatnot. But that to me is just like normal because I think your soulmate is not going to live in your backyard.
mm.
I had to move to find love, and so I just feel like it might be wild to some people, but I don't think it is. I mean, to a lot of people, hiring a matchmaker is wild. They're like, why would you do that? Well, I don't know. This is like the most important decision of your life to find the person you're supposed to be with. So why would you not outsource that? But these things are just normal to me. So I don't know.
Yeah, and that's kind of that's really interesting as well. Like yeah, because like I find like in here in Australia, it's kind of like a big deal. Like if somebody lives in another state, or like because it's such a
Mm-hmm.
probably similar to the US, but it's kind of being like yeah, like being open to people that like like okay, I can move that place, and being like preparing your life to let somebody in. And yeah, so what would you think, like what you said, like some people think it's wild about, hiring a matchmaker. What would you say is like the benefits of like having a matchmaker?
I mean, you basically hired a personal assistant, but for your dating life. I
Mm,
mean, you don't have to swipe through the apps. You don't have to meet somebody that looks nothing like their photos. Like we've done all that work for you, and
mm,
trust me, it's hard work. Like it is a lot to meet and interview and screen every single candidate that is like in my database, and there's thousands of people and we know them, and like I can guarantee, yeah, I just saw this girl last week. She looks like her photo, she's beautiful, she has great energy. There's
mm.
also something to be said where I've met both people in person, so obviously I use my intuitive skills as well, and matchmakers use their intuitive skills. I have my client, and you know what, like usually when I have an interview with a client, I'll be like, people that would be great for you, that would get along with you. Like a dating profile, it's very hard to know if you're going to actually match with anybody. I mean, they say, like, in terms of going on dates from dating apps, if you have like a decent date 1 out of 10 times, you're doing well. And that statistic doesn't surprise me because you don't actually know what that person's like. You've texted a little bit, you've read a profile, like you have not done any real screening process the way we do. So, I mean, it's very curated, and we're not going to send you 20 matches at once either. We're going to be like, this person would be great for you. They have the same values, they want the same things, and you get to really ask somebody to find what you're looking for in every aspect.
Yeah, and that's so interesting because yeah, like and I feel like things have changed. Like it's probably like what you've said, like that connection, and finding someone. Like for me, like I still believe I can organically meet someone, but like I know a lot of my friends are on the apps, but I suppose like living in a big city and being busy with work and things like that, having someone else to kind of help you with that and to screen that, because that's why I kind of stopped like going on dates on dating apps, because I was like, I don't want to waste my time if it's, you know what I mean, if I'm, you know, I've only got a few, you know, few like nights like just that I could even delegate to that. What would you recommend
Yeah, of
for
course.
people at a time?
I mean,
Yeah.
I
Mm,
still think you can meet someone in person, but I think
mm,
as a woman, it's really hard because I just believe in chivalry and the man should come up to the woman. And what's happened to men is because of the dating apps, they've lost their confidence to go up to a woman in person. So I mean, I've seen it many times. Like even when I was single, I would see a guy, I would see him be interested, I would give him the body language of yeah, come over, and I'd see him cower away, like because
yeah.
they're just so scared now. So it's like if you're a man, absolutely you should be going up to women in person, you know, that you're interested in. But if you're a woman, that's just not in our control, and that is the toughest part.
Yeah, and that's just such a good point. That's what I, you know, how I mentioned at the start what I found the difference from the US to Australia, that a lot more of the guys have a bit more confidence. They would come up to you in the street and give you compliments,
Yeah.
where it's very rare in Australia. Like I've had a few friends that have had like, you know, that have lived overseas or they're from overseas and have come to Australia and they're like, oh, it's not very often that you'll have a guy be like, hey, you know, you know, like your vibe or your energy or you know this and that. So but yeah, I think it is definitely that kind of confidence thing, and you know, being able to you know, like even like sometimes I'll like, you know, when I go for my morning walk and I'll just say hi to people, like, you know, just being friendly. People, there's hardly that many people that will look you in the eye and say hi back without any
Yeah.
kind of, you know, agenda, just like, you know, that connection. Yeah.
But Canada's like that too. Like I think Australia and Canada are very culturally similar.
Mm.
It's the same thing. Like a guy would rather like just he's not coming up to you
Oh,
in Canada.
yeah. Somebody put come to New York, they harass you. Yeah, I lived in New York and then
They do harass you in New York.
yeah,
That's
they
so
do.
true. Yeah, I know. It's like unwanted attention though. But they will also come like I've yeah, New York actually is one of the few cities left where like a dude will literally come up to you in a suit and be like, I work on Wall Street, like this is my car. I
Yeah,
think you're beautiful. Let's go to dinner. I'm like, I respect that. I respect
yeah,
that, sir. Like
yeah, yeah,
totally. Yeah. It's the last city left. Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, definitely. That they'll come up and, you know, yeah, let's like, you know, I like you, let's go out,
Yeah.
let's do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you want to share a little bit about your journey with love? You said that you like moved, you know, moved interstate, like, well, over to a different place
Yeah.
to find love. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Here he is. He's driving the car. He's
Hey.
yeah, well, okay, so it was, you know, COVID happened
Mm,
and I was living in New York at the time
mm,
and COVID happened. It was really scary and I decided to go back to Vancouver where I was from. I
mm.
really just kind of didn't know what else to do. I think a lot of people were in that position, but you did not want to be at ground zero of the thing. So I was like, I
Yeah.
got to get out of here. And, you know, for me, it was a really big awakening. Like, I'm glad that happened to me. It was sort of like a dark night of the soul for me.
Mm,
Um, because everything stopped, you know, and I really had the time to self reflect. And I was like, whoa, like I'm 33. I was 33 at the time. I'm like, I'm 33 and I'm single. Like, this is not how my life was supposed to end up. What the hell happened?
yeah.
And like, instead of blaming everyone else or like my shitty ex or like, you know, I was like, okay, I can't control any of that. Like all I
Mm,
can control is me. And like, why the hell did that happen? And I was already matchmaking. I'm like, I'm a matchmaker. Like, if I can't figure this out, you know, like who can? Like, I really need to
mm,
like dig deeper in this. And so I dug really deep into like my childhood trauma, my attachment style, like why I was letting certain men even in my space that really like did not want the same things as me. Why was I doing that? Well, I had a really insecure attachment style and I did have some childhood trauma that I hadn't worked through. And I just spent a lot of that time really isolating and like working through it and honestly working through the pain of like, okay, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not.
mm,
I'm really not. But like, how am I going to take accountability for it and change it? So I really took the time, like I took that year to heal and
mm.
then I was like ready to, I was like, you know, starting to date again. People were dating, and I was trying to date in Vancouver, and like that would have been great because my family was there and my friends were there. But after going on like a couple of dates with Vancouver guys, it just really hit me like my husband is not here. Like this
Yeah.
sucks, but he's not here. And I had done like so much healing work that I was like, I just honestly knew that intuitively. And I know it sounds bizarre, but I was just like, I know he's not here. He's just
Yeah.
not. And so, I mean, in early 2021, I told my dad, I said, look, I'm going to move to Miami. He was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be gone in a month. Like, I'm going to Miami. He's like, you're not going to go back to New York? I'm like, I'm not going to go back to ground zero of the pandemic. Like, a lot of my friends are in Miami, and I'm just going to go try it out. Like, I'd also lived in like hard lockdown for a year in Canada. I know Australia had the same thing. So I was like tired of it. And I was like, I'm going to go, and I'm really going to like put my best foot forward with dating. And so, you know, I got to Miami and I dated for like 4 months. I would go on 5 dates a week. Like I would literally spend a weekend going to brunch, lunch, like dinner, apps, whatever. Like I was just like, let's go on dates. Like this is a numbers game. Let's go on dates. And I was very crystal clear with what I wanted and very clear, like knowing the type of man I was looking for. And I did screen these people, you know, but I had a lot of like shitty dates. I had a lot of dates that bombed. Like we all have those experiences. I had a lot of times where I was like, oh, this is never going to happen. Like, you know, but I got very lucky, I think, like after 4 months of literally doing that every week, like making dating my number one priority in my life, I met him. And like, will I say that I knew right away? Definitely not. And I also say this to women because like we had a really good first date. There was nothing wrong with the date. But was I leaving the date being like, oh my God, I have butterflies and he's like the one? No. And a lot of women think that. They think if you don't have this pit in your stomach, then you know you shouldn't like, then that's like not the guy. It's like actually it's the opposite. Like I felt very calm, very secure with him. We were holding hands on our first date. I pulled my hand away at one point because I was like, holy shit, why am I holding this guy's hand? I don't really know him yet. But I was like a little bit, I don't know. I just felt like I'm not sure about it. Like, and I feel like in the past, and anyone that I had a boyfriend before, I was like super excited, but that was actually the problem because like that was my nervous system being on high alert. That was actually like not a good match for me. So, you know, I saw him again and again and again. And it really was just like this very beautiful connection where I also started really judging men on their actions, not on, and that's like my like advice to women, like you can't really listen to what a guy says. Like certain men will say anything, but like this guy was so consistent. Like he really earned my trust. Like, every little thing he did. Like we saw each other 3-4 times a week, and I just realized I could count on him for that. And he put effort, and he was chivalrous, and like it was very obvious he was in the same life place as me, and he really wanted family, and he really wanted marriage, and he really wanted all these things. And I didn't even have to like ask him that, you know, like a lot of women say, oh, well, like you, if you have to ask a guy that, I mean, he should be showing you from his actions and the place he's at that that's where he is, you know? So, I mean, yeah, that's our story. I do consider myself really lucky, but I also feel like I did put in the work and it didn't just like fall in my lap.
Yeah, and I think that's really important what you were saying at the start, that like, you know, taking that time out and like being like, okay, what do I really want, and doing that inner work of like, you know, attracting the right partner as well. Because, you know, it's so easy to, you know, go from relationship to relationship and like not take a break and be like, hey, actually, you know, who am I calling in? And I really loved one of your videos that you put, and you were like, yeah, like you're up front, you're going on these dates, and you know, like what you said, your life plan is like, this is what I want. Like, you know, want to settle down, I want to have the kids, and you know, now you've got twins and you've got other twins on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, like, you know, just taking sometimes like a risk for love, like even talking to you now, like I'm kind of like, oh, I'm like so not like active on my, on my dating
You
life. I
got to get out
definitely
there
need
and date. I know. You got to get out there. Got to get out there.
to. I know sometimes it's like yeah, that's what I kind of found. Like you do get kind of comfortable just, like, doing your own thing and and then it's kind of being like, oh, okay, like having to put myself out there again. So like obviously, for me, like I've taken a risk and put myself out there, and then it's kind of like what you said, I've got to be you've got to be consistent, do you think, with dating? Yeah, be determined.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's really hard. Like I get it. I mean, I coach women during their dating journey, and I understand. And women are sensitive, and all it takes is one bad date for us to feel like, oh my god, it's hopeless. We're never gonna find him. But you actually don't know how close you could be. And like
Mm,
the biggest thing is you just need a thick skin with dating. Like you
mm,
cannot let that shit bother you. Like, okay, a date didn't go well, great, moving on, next, keep it moving. Just like keep it moving, keep screen better. If the guy turned out to be terrible because you weren't aligned on values, or I don't know what the reason was, like just screen
mm,
better next time. Maybe that means you FaceTime your matches next time. I don't know, but the biggest thing I see is these women just get so discouraged. Like,
mm.
oh, I had too many bad dates, so I'm just off dating apps and I'm not gonna date. And like that's doing yourself a disservice because nobody said this was easy, you know?
Mm. And I think, when it is like, when it comes to love and like putting ourselves out there, it's the most vulnerable thing, like love, love, like, you would probably see it, in your work. And like, obviously it's not just like what you said, like, oh, why aren't I dating? It comes back to, like, past things that, we're holding on to. And like what you said, is like being like, yeah, it's kind of, yeah, that self-confidence and self-worth, putting yourself out there and believing that, you can have what you believe, that partner is going to be
Yeah,
like.
yeah. You
Mm,
you have to believe that you are gonna get what you want. But also I just feel like, and look, for some people it is easy and that's like amazing for them. But even in our experience, it like we feel we put in work to find each other. I mean, he says he went through thousands of profiles.
mm, mm,
Thousands.
mm.
Like I went through thousands of profiles to find you. Like it's hard for men too, and that's what
Yeah.
women don't realize. Like a man who really is looking for his person, it's not easy for him either to grind for him too.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good perspective to put as well. Yeah, because like we think as women, like, it's like about our journey, but then you don't think about the guys as well that are, obviously, looking for someone, really to
Yeah,
kind of settle down. And at least like, with women, like, we can talk to our girlfriends about like,
yeah. Who
like
are
what
guys gonna talk to? Like it's not really like a really bro thing to be like, hey, bro. Yeah, yeah. He's like nobody cares. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
This app, and they're like,
Exactly.
oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, man.
uh,
Sucks for you. Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
So if you can just give just a few, so somebody put, which app do you recommend to meet high caliber men?
I mean, I don't think there's a specific app for that. I think they're hiding, to be
Mm,
honest with
mm,
you. I
mm,
know there are like there's marketed apps for this, like Luxy and
mm.
Seeking, but I find those to be all bullshit and probably kind of like sugar baby apps, which I don't think
Yeah.
you're gonna find anything real on there. Um, the affluent, high value men are hiding. They're on Hinge, they're on Bumble, and they're on the League. A League is a good one because
Mm,
League, kind of screens for education, so you have a better chance there. But even so, I think what a lot of women they judge a profile wrong. So a lot of my coaching is I'll go through with someone I'm coaching and I'll swipe
mm,
with them, and a lot of times they want to swipe left, and I'm like, stop. That's a great guy. And they're like, what? Like, what do you mean? It doesn't even
mm,
list his job. Girl, let me tell you something. A guy with a really good job isn't going to list it because he doesn't really want a gold digger. So he's going to put something
mm,
vague. He's not going to show a picture of his boat. He's not going to show a picture of his house, and he's not going to show a picture of his car. That's trashy, and he's not
mm.
going to do that. A high value guy, it's going to look like a normal ass profile. And like women don't get
Yeah.
that, and they literally will think like, oh, this guy looks broke, like swipe left. This guy he didn't list his job, so he must not have a job. You're so wrong. And
Mm.
I mean, it is a 50-50 toss up, but I also think you should be looking for other things. You shouldn't care so much about, what the guy necessarily does. But I will say I've seen a lot of women make bad judgment calls there.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting as well. Yeah, you can't just go by like, face value of it. It's like until you meet that person and you kind of, get to know a little bit about them as well. Yeah, so if you can give just a few tips to us over here in Australia of of finding love. Yeah. We
I
obviously
mean,
know.
I don't know what it's a totally different culture over there. What are the apps that people are using mostly?
Like what you said, like Bumble and Hinge. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. They're the
yeah.
main ones. Yeah, they've still got Tinder here. Still,
Okay. Yeah, I mean we have Tinder here too, but I feel like it's
yeah,
not like that.
yeah.
What is like a typical date that a guy on Hinge is asking you out on in Australia?
I, I think in Australia it's a lot more kind of like active dates. Like people, they either like
Yeah,
they'll go for coffee or go
go to
for
the
dinner or maybe
beach or
go to the beach or go for like a walk or like you like they have been really romantic. Like I've heard friends like they've said that they've gone like gone on like a hiking adventure and gone to the beach. Yeah, I had
yeah.
one go. Yeah,
I mean, I would just say like obviously if your city is not working for you, don't be afraid to travel and explore. That's what I would say. Like I know a
mm,
lot of women who have found success traveling, setting their app to that location, even chatting with someone
mm,
before they get there, and just trying something new because you can't always expect like that your guy's going to be in your city. He wasn't in the city I was living in,
yeah,
and I had to leave. And I mean that is honestly my advice. Like if it's not working, if you really feel you've exhausted dating in that city, like I know some of the towns in Australia are smaller. Like I mean
mm.
obviously Sydney's big, but some of the others I've heard, it's like, well, I've dated everyone here. Okay, well then you need to move. You need to try
Yeah.
something else. Yeah.
Yeah, so many put good advice. And
Yeah.
what do you think about the coffee and walk date? Somebody put about coffee and walk.
Like to me, that is not a date. Like that's like appalling. Okay, there's a couple of things wrong with it.
Yeah,
First of all, I feel like, let's be honest, anyone asking someone on a coffee isn't really sure about that person. You're
yeah,
not sure about them. So it's basically
mm,
not even a date, it's an audition. And I don't know about you, but I don't really feel like auditioning for somebody. Like it's like, what?
yeah,
And I mean, if a girl asks a guy on a date, it's the same thing. She isn't sure about him. It doesn't set you up for success. It's not going to be romantic. There's nothing
mm,
romantic about getting a coffee at like 4 p.m. First of all, it's weird. It's like, oh, let's sit here and drink coffee. It's like we're not colleagues. Like it's very strange. And I just feel like
yeah,
you can't really get a lot of sparks or chemistry. Like for me, it would be just a no. Like I never said yes to coffee dates. It's like it's setting both people up for failure. Like go for happy hour. It's an hour later at like 5 or 6 o'clock, and it's going to maybe $20 more, and the girl can get dressed up and like look nice, and you can have a cocktail
mm,
together or a mocktail if you don't drink or whatever, but it's a better vibe. And if you really get along, you can go have appetizers or dinner after, but it leaves it open-ended. There's nothing open-ended about coffee. Good to see you. Like I don't know if people are still doing that. When you have that conversation, I mean, a coffee date is just going to set you up to fail. I just,
oh,
yeah.
yeah. No, I love that. Like, and like what you said, like looking for that high quality date if you met that person. Yeah. Yeah. And like, not just looking to, where you are. Like, I even tried, like, went out, looked for a farmer, so gave that a go. But yeah, like, I definitely think that I like to be by the beach and meet somebody that, does like a simple life. And it's like what you said, like being willing to move and go on a date and, find that person.
You cut out a little bit, but yeah, even the beach is a little more romantic than coffee. That's better. Like that's like what I mean. If that if you like activity dates, like it's. I mean, there's just. I just think coffee dates are so awkward, and also everyone in the coffee shop is looking at you too. Like
Yeah.
everyone knows you're on an awkward ass first date, and they're like laughing at you while they're trying to work on their laptop. Like it is. It is no. It is a no.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, why are they out for dinner? Yeah.
Well, yeah, and
Um,
everybody knows, and I don't know. Yeah. No.
so if people want to find out more, so they can just go to Laura the Matchmaker. Is there anything that you've got happening that you want to share? Or
I mean, not really. I'm in a show right now on the Roku channel called Match Me in
mm,
Miami that you can stream free
mm,
on Roku anywhere in the world that has a
mm,
Roku device. Um,
yeah,
but you know, I'm pregnant. I'm chilling. I'm taking on select clients. I'm still coaching select clients. So
mm,
you can go to the link in my Instagram bio and check out all that information on my website and the services I offer. But yeah, I'm just trying to get through 2023. You know.
yeah. Oh, well, thank you for joining me. I love it. It was really good to, chat with you and yeah, to like share, we got some good takeaways. Take the girl out on the first date and pay for it. No to the coffee and walk dates.
Go to coffee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be willing to move, looking for love and like actively do the work on yourself to put yourself out there. Yeah.
Thank you. I hope it was helpful. I had fun with you.
Oh, I had fun too. And always love your work and supporting you. And yeah, sending you lots of love from Australia. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
you're such an inspiration. You and your hubby, and congrats with the twins, the new twins coming through. So coming.
Thank
Um,
you. Oh, I see a nice comment. Thank you. Yes,
yeah.
register in the database. Yeah, she made a good comment. So yeah, you can register in my free database. Make sure you create a profile with like 3 to 5 pictures and fully fill it out. I can't match you if you have one photo. A lot of people make a profile and they're like, I didn't hear anything. I'm like, I have no idea what you look like. Like, I have no idea what you want. You didn't fill anything out. So
Yeah.
yeah, we have a confidential matchmaker database. So that's an option too.
Oh, that's good. Well, yeah, no, you've definitely, like, even talking to you, I was like, okay, I've got to put myself out there again, get out of my bubble.
Good, do
Yeah, put
it.
that,
Yeah, get on those
um,
dates.
get that,
Get on those dates.
and get out there again.
Thanks, girl.
Thank you. Oh, people
Bye.
say you also match people from Europe. Somebody put in there.
We don't have a Europe branch right
Mm,
now, but I know some matchmakers in Europe. So if you create a profile with us, maybe I can send it to them. All the matchmakers in the world know each other. It's really small industry,
yeah.
and we do have a matchmaker in Dubai, if that's helpful.
Wow.
But
Okay.
she has some European clients, so we have 7 matchmakers at Sync, and yeah, maybe soon. But for now, just Dubai and all over the U.S.
And in Australia, like, would they be able to do anything in Australia or?
I know some matchmakers in Australia, like in Sydney, but not as many as I know in like Europe and the U.S. Yeah,
Uh,
you know any in Australia?
No, yeah, not real. Like, yeah, that's why it's so interesting, like, what you do in Miami, because, yeah, like, I don't know, like, yeah, like, obviously, anyone that has that profession, but it's cool, yeah, it's definitely
Yeah,
something that's needed here. Yeah, definitely.
yeah. Time to dial it up. Get it
Yeah.
going.
Like I do think like you hear about like relationship coaches, but like I don't know
Right.
how that's a bit different from like matchmakers, would you say? Like they give you
Yeah.
more advice, whereas matchmakers actively like kind of look for someone for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Match
It's like,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh well lots of love. Enjoy. See
Thank
you.
you. Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.